Hi, everybody. Welcome to Fast Coasters and welcome to our first park review. Today's park review will be King's Dominion in Doswell, Virginia. The park is part of the Mega Six Flags chain, formerly part of the Legacy Cedar Fair chain. It opened as a Taft Broadcasting Park, part of, I believe it was called King's Entertainment, back in 1975. Was a sister park to Kings Island in Mason, Ohio, hence the name King's Dominion. In 1993, Paramount bought the parks, so that was part of the Paramount Parks brand. And then in 2006, Cedar Fair acquired all the Paramount Parks, and it's been a Cedar Fair park ever since. Now, just a disclaimer: the footage you'll see in this video is a little bit outdated. It was back in 2018, I believe this footage was taken. So you'll see some coasters that aren't there anymore, like Volcano the Blast coaster and Anaconda, and some coasters that are there now aren't there in the video, like Rapterra. But other than that, everything else is basically up to date. So first, I'm gonna walk. We're gonna do like a walkthrough of the park area by area, and then I'll go over some general stuff and then my final thoughts. So you'll come in through the front gate on International Street. Now there's only two rides on International Street. There's Dominator, the B&M floorless coaster, and then there's the Eiffel Tower, which is a great observation tower. I wouldn't get your hopes up about the Eiffel Tower because most of the time it is closed. So just be aware of that when you go. Dominator is a great B&M floorless coaster. I have a more in-depth review up on the channel. Go check that out if you'd like to. It's a really good supporting coaster for the park and probably the best B&M floorless coaster out there. As far as dining options on International Street, this is where you have Grain and Grill. It is a very good restaurant. They have really good chicken there with the nice, I believe, teriyaki sauce. They glaze it in something and it's pretty good. But other than so, mostly on International Street, you'll have the Eiffel Tower, Dominator, and then Grain and Grill is where most people like to go and eat. And in all areas, there are bathrooms and stuff, so you don't have to worry about that. We'll go left now. That's where you have Planet Snoopy. So this is your kids area for if you're coming with your family and your little ones want something to do. This is where they'll be. It is a pretty big Planet Snoopy. They have three significant rides. They have Woodstock Express, which is a classic wooden coaster, which actually opened before the park opened. And they also have Great Pumpkin Coaster, which is a kids coaster, only for little ones. I believe if you're an adult, you can't go on that by yourself. And they do have Boo Blasters in this area as well, which is the dark ride that used to be a Scooby Doo themed dark ride, and it's pretty fun. The little ones will like it. It might scare them a little bit, but it's cheap scares. It's not even like nothing like terrifying. It's not like a ghost train attraction. So that'll be located behind Dominator. So when you take a left at the Eiffel Tower, that'll be the first area you see. Once you step through that area, then we get to Jungle Expedition, which is the new area. This is where Anaconda and Volcano the Blast Coaster once were. It is in a bit of a transitional phase, but it does look really good. So as far as big attractions, this is where you're going to have most of them. We have Rapterra, which is the brand new for 2025 B&M launched wing coaster. It's a good coaster. I'm going to put up a review of the channel on the channel soon, which it might be up by the time you're watching this, but it'll be up soon. So right in that area, you have Toonbilly, which is a SNS 40 free spin. It's actually pretty fun. I didn't think it was. I thought it was gonna. I wasn't gonna get a lot of flips, but I actually got a good amount of flips as long as you get the weight distribution right. Um, SNS 40 free spins are always a ton of fun. If you ever done like a Huss top spin, they're just like that, but in roller coaster form. You also have Reptilian in this area, which is the Mack Rides bobsled. It was formerly known as Avalanche, but once Rapterra came in, they rethemed Reptilian to looking like they rethemed Avalanche into Reptilian to fit in with the area more, which I do appreciate. It's a fun ride. It's not. It's a. I do it for the credit, and then probably wouldn't do it again that day. But it is a fun ride to do. Just be aware with the capacity because it's single file seating. This might get a little bit of a wait. I waited about maybe 10 minutes for this though. Uh, as far as the wait times go, I'll walk through the wait times as we go through. So just going back to Dominator really quick, the most you'll see that wait is maybe 45 minutes, but that's if the park's really busy. Rapterra, it's probably going to be maybe 45 minutes generally. Toonbilly, I didn't wait long for it. I hit it right at the start of the day, so I can't really speak to how long that line gets. So once we go past there, if we keep going to the back of the park, if we turn right at the end of the path, we have Backlot Stunt Coaster, which will probably be getting rethemed soon to fit in with the area because it really doesn't fit in the area with its current form. It is a Premier Rides. I'd say it's a family launch coaster. It's pretty fun. It's a little janky, but I think it's fun for the whole family. But if we go the opposite direction, we go past this little volcano piece that was left over from Volcano. First, we hit Flight of Fear, which is the 1996, I believe, Premier Rides launch coaster. It was the first LIM launch coaster. It's a spaghetti bowl layout. So if you've done like Joker's Jinx or Poltergeist at Fiesta Texas, you already know what that coaster is going to be like. It's in the middle of a transitional phase. Outside, they're trying to retheme the building a little bit. I'm not sure inside if they're going to do any retheming, but as far as the inside goes, it still has the alien theming. Then once you go all the way back, that's where you have Pantherian, which unfortunately was not open for my latest visit because they are in the middle of retheming it and getting some work done on it. But you might also know it as Intimidator 305, the Intamin Giga Coaster that opened in 2010 and is the most intense roller coaster in the world. It is a very, very extreme thrill ride. So just make sure you're ready for it. Make sure it's not like your first coaster ever. Make sure you build yourself up and make sure you conquer other coasters and then you do this one. If you're used to coasters, you could go here first and go on. That's what I wanted to do. But if like you're brand new to coasters and you haven't really done any really, I would do like some other rides, like maybe Dominator and Rockterra before that. But Pantherian is an incredible ride. It is in my top 5 coasters. Definitely, you need to get out for this ride. This ride is an elite roller coaster. This is one of the main reasons to come to this park. So we have Pantherian in the back. Once we have to backtrack a little bit and right about where our Planet Snoopy is again, and we're gonna go left instead of straight. That is where we'll enter Candy Apple Grove. Now, Candy Apple Grove has a couple of the major flat rides in the park and a few of the major coasters. So first we'll talk about Delirium, which is a Huss Frisbee. I didn't do Delirium, but I thought I'd mention it because it's one of the main flat rides of the park. Drop Tower is across the way from that. That is I believe it's an Intamin. Don't quote me on that. I think it's an Intamin. It's either an Intamin or a Huss. I don't know. But Drop Tower there, unfortunately, I didn't get to do it during my visit because it was down during the day. I believe the winds were a little too high for it. But I do hear that is a great Drop Tower. Definitely would check that out. Right next to that, you have Victoria's Pizza, which is a really good pizza place to eat. And then past the pizza place and Drop Tower, that's where you have Soak City. So if you're interested in going into the water park, that's where Soak City is. I didn't step into Soak City on my latest visit because it wasn't open yet. But if you are interested in the water park, Soak City is right back there. I am not quite sure if it's included with the admission. Just check the park's website, but I didn't look at that information because it wasn't open. So once we go back more, we have 3 coasters in the back. We also have Windseeker in the back, which is the big scream and swing, not a scream and swing, the like a Sky Screamer type ride. They have one in most of the Cedar Fair parks, like Cedar Point, Kings Island. So if you've done those, you already know what this one's going to be like. To the left, we have Racer 75, which is a classic wooden coaster. It's a racing wooden coaster. If you've done the Racer at Kings Island, you already know what the coaster is going to be like. It's a pretty fun coaster. It's really smooth. There is a little bit of Gravity Group pre-cut track on this, so it is really smooth, and I definitely would recommend doing it. It's definitely a fun ride. Once we go past there, I'll talk about Apple Zapple first. That is the Macrolides Wild Mouse. There's really not much to this ride. You get it for the credit, and then you're done. I didn't wait too long for the attractions I just spoke about from backlot on. I didn't really wait too long for a backlot. I waited about maybe 10 minutes. Flight of Fear was a walk on, and Pantherian, of course, wasn't open, but I'd say that probably hovers around 15 minutes. Racer didn't wait for it all, got right on. Apple Zapple didn't wait for it all either. In the back of the park is Twisted Timbers. This is the 2018 RMC hybrid conversion of Hurler, which was the old wooden coaster at the park. And when I was visiting, it was on one train, and I waited a maximum of about 45 minutes. But hopefully for your visit, it would be on 2 trains, and the line would be a little bit shorter. But this is also an elite roller coaster. This is also, I believe this is in my top 10. So definitely get out here for Pantherian and Twisted Timbers. Those are the 2 main reasons you should come to this park. Love those coasters to bits. Twisted Timbers is really relentless. Again, I have a separate review for Twisted Timbers up on my channel. Definitely check that out. And I go more in depth into the elements of the ride. It's definitely a coaster you don't want to miss when you come. So that's it for Candy Apple Grove. Then if we continue down to, if we're coming for Candy Apple Grove, we're going to go to the left, and that'll be Old Virginia. Now, Old Virginia has, I'd say, the least to do it out of the main areas, excluding International Street, of course. The only ride that I did in this area was Grizzly, which is the wooden coaster. It just had a retrack project done by the Gravity Group. I still thought the coaster was okay. I didn't think it was anything special. I did sit in the middle of the train, but I do hear if you sit in the back or the front, it is a much better experience. Be careful not to miss this ride because there's a shop. It's called, I believe, it's called Grizzly General Store or something. You have to walk through that to get to Grizzly itself. So just be aware of that. And I believe this is where the future expansion of the park might come if they choose to decide to go here. Other rides that people go on, Whitewater Canyon and the log flume are back here. So your rapids ride and your log flume, those are back here. So if you want to do a water ride, this is where it's going to be. And then there's also the antique cars ride back here if you're interested in that, and a flying scooters ride. Then we come around, and that's it for our tour. Another restaurant I forgot to mention was, so there's a burrito place in Candy Apple Grove that was pretty good, and there's also Jukebox Diner. That one's okay, nothing to shout about. It's your regular theme park burgers and fries. So as far as operations in the park go, it was great from what I experienced. Everybody was moving with a purpose, and even Twisted Timbers on one train was moving. They were moving pretty quickly on the platform. So props to them. As far as the food goes, as I said, you have Great and Grill and Victoria's Pizza. That's what I would recommend the most. Ride wise, I'd recommend Pantherian and Twisted Timbers the most. But as far as the park goes, I think I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. It's definitely a great park. Definitely you should get out here. One more thing about the loose article policy. The only rides that you do need to purchase a locker for are Rapterra, Flight of Fear, Pantherian, and Twisted Timbers if you have large items. But other than that, this park's going to get a 9 out of 10 for me. As I said, it's a great park. Definitely would recommend visiting for Pantherian, Twisted Timbers, and even Dominator and Rapterra. Those are fun rides as well. So thank you for tuning into this review, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye, guys.